go. We will jump to Bart Horston as soon as he's out, as he will be the lead car. There he is, Bart Horston. P1. He will be very happy with that from qualifying. We've got a shout for Ash Marshall to finish on the podium. Interesting. Nico out. We are just awaiting the arrival, I believe, of Gordy Much. Gordy will probably be taking his time, ruining the Mercedes, the car that brought him victory in race 1. There we go. We are all on the grid, the racers that we've got with us this week. Engines are revving.
Green flag, green flag.
Green flag. And they're all away. Heading down to turn 1. It looks like Bart has got a great launch. Gordy's slow off the line. But he's sticking with Bart here. He's going to come down the side of him coming up to the next turn. No, not the way around there. Not going to quite happen as Nico keeps them honest there as well. Having a look back, it looks like everyone's filtering through quite nicely. Ash Marshall has built himself a gap from the guys behind. So is managing to stay neatly ahead and in contention. Gordy Much now. No room round the outside there for Gordy as he has a look at Bart. He's going to be all over the tail with Nico in the background, watching and waiting for his moment. As we follow them down now, through the hill and round. Bart Horston keeping Gordy Much at bay. A little dip into the grass there with that rear wheel. Won't cost him anything too much there, but will want to be aware of it. Any little tiny mistake is all it's going to take for Gordy Much to pounce here. This is looking tight, isn't it? The top 3. Bart Horston from Gordy Much, from Nicolas Rogivu. As we come round the final corner to complete lap 1. And away the chaps go. Now, is Gordy going to have a look into turn 1? I don't think he is. He's not close enough, is he? Beautiful on the brakes from Bart Horston there. Perfect line, and away he goes up the hill again. Nico staying with them. But only just. I think Nico will be very aware of any accident that could come here. But he'll also be aware of what that dirty air will do to unbalance, unsettle his car. And also to wreck his tyres. So there will be a bit of management. Just being careful. It's an hour-long race. There's no need to be tripping over them this early. Bart Horston, 1:28.5 for that opening lap. Bear in mind, people, this is a standing start. It's nice and clean from him. He is keeping Gordy Much at arm's length. But that is all he is keeping him at the moment. Further back, Ash Marshall, P4, is managing to keep Timo, Tony and Sebastian behind him with a nice gap for himself. If anything happens at the front here, you have to fancy Ash Marshall to be on that podium. And if you've got to feel, if anything is going to happen, if there's going to be a nudge, if there's going to be a lunge, it's going to be between these two. These are currently the 2 championship contenders. Gordy Much winning race 1, with Bart Horston coming second for race 2. Bearing in mind, though, these boys will be absolutely unflappable. They are used to this. This is their day job. Bart Horston with a 1:23.2 on the last lap. So we just have a check back over the grid. It looks like Sebastian Norgran has had a bit of a smack into the wall there. That rear wing does not look tidy at all. Tony Norgran out in the field on his own. Timo just ahead of him, with Ash in a nice little spot for himself there. Keeping himself going, just aware of what's happening ahead of him. We see Nico hanging on to the back of the other two. With Gordy Much and Bart Horston duking it out for that race win. 1:23.3 last lap. What is Gordy going to do for this lap? Gordy pulls out a 1:23.1. Bart Horston 1:23.1. They are matching each other for lap time. Maybe a hundredth or so in it, but that is it. Looking at the way Gordy is harrying that BMW, you've got to think sooner or later he's going to fancy his chances and have a dive. They will both want to win. They are racers. Absolutely born and bred, pure racers. And you have to feel that when that attack comes, there's going to be some serious defence. Bart Horston dipping the grass there again, using all of that runoff as best he can. We have a check back over everyone's times. Gordy Much 0.3 behind Bart Horston at present, with Nico Rogivu 1.7 off. 6 seconds back for Ash Marshall, still hanging on to that fourth place quite nicely. 12 seconds off the lead with Tony Norgran. 14 seconds off the lead for Timo McEwen. And 19 seconds back, Sebastian Norgran. P4 in race 1 has obviously had a horrific incident in the opening laps, taken out the rear wing on that Audi, and that has dropped him miles off the pace. Tak, your commentary sounds like you should be part of Sky Sports F1. I mean, I would love to do something like that, Super Ed, but I'm quite happy sat in my my daft chair, looking at my screen, watching these guys go at it. Plus, travelling around the world, as much as I would love to do it, I think I would secretly miss my children. Don't tell them that. And possibly my wife as well. She wouldn't miss me. She would be the one with the bags at the door for me and her size 10 up my backside. I'm pretty sure she might still be in the chat somewhere watching. Just shh. Bart Horston comes round again. Still in that 1:23.1 is his last lap, aren't we? What's it going to be on this lap? How close are these two? They are pulling away from Nico in third. Nico cannot hang on to them. We have got a race here this time. Gordy Much is not having it his own way. Not for this championship. As we come round to complete yet another lap, Bart Horston, what have we got? 1:23.3 for Bart. A 1:23.3 for Gordy. They are just level pegging all the way. When there's only, a 100th or 1,000th in it here and there, there's no clear pace advantage for either of them at the moment. Bart cannot pull away. At the same time, Gordy cannot do anything to get closer to the back of Bart to make a move on it. Can you imagine trying to commentate on burnout? You're starting to show your age now, Super Ed. There will be people in this chat who are looking going, what's burnout? You think that's bad? I think the first driving games I was on was the Test Drive series, which I believe then became the Need for Speed series from there. Define, it might come down to pitting strategy. That is probably what this is going to be. Now, the issue is going to be here. These two are going to be pushing hard. Absolutely. Gordy will want past, but Bart will want that position. And with them both pushing, they're going to be burning through the fuel. Are they going to burn out a lot quicker than they need? And that is going to bring Nico and Ash into play. Best racing game of all time was Outrun. Could I put a call in for Wipeout? I'm fully aware Wipeout was not cars as such. It was silly spaceships, but what a fantastic game Wipeout was. Original PlayStation Wipeout, that is, ladies and gentlemen. Again, coming around, they're not, there's just no separating these two. Let's have a look back. Nico there. Nico with the 124.0. So he's 7/10 off on his last lap. But that might be all a part of what Nico Rogivu is looking to do here. Manage the tyres, manage the fuel, let the guys ahead of you burn themselves out. Ash Marshall, P4, fan favourite it seems. We've got a lot of love for Ash in the chat today. I've seen calls for Ash to be on the podium. Great guy, great driver. It would be nice to see him up there. So we'll see what happens as we go through the next 50 minutes or so. Jump back to Tony Norgran there. Tony in the Lamborghini. It's being kept honest behind him. Who's that? Is that Timo? It is Timo McEwen. There might be a battle brewing between these three later on in the race, it seems. So we'll just keep half an eye on that one as well as we go through. We jump back to the two leaders here, as the sim appears to have just had a bit of a moment. Apologies there, ladies and gentlemen, as we cut back to Ash Marshall. There we go. Bart Horston and Gordy Much. Oh, Gordy looked like he... Sorry, Bart looked like he went a bit deep there. There were a couple of nibbles of the brakes, weren't there, as he went through that corner. Diddy Kong Racing was lit. I should point out, I have Diddy Kong Racing on the original N64, ladies and gentlemen. I am still a fan. A fan of gaming and a fan of racing. Gordy Much all over the back of Bart Horston. There's going to be a move here, surely. If he can get the exit off of that last corner, you've got to fancy Gordy Much into turn one. How good an exit can Bart Horston get here? They both look set and equal. They look good coming out of there. I don't think Gordy's going to be close enough. Down Paddock Hill Bend. And they are not... Nope, he's not close enough to make a move. Gordy Much biding his time. Waiting for that moment. Trying to force Bart Horston into a mistake here. And it is just not happening, is it? Bart level-headed as you like. Much better through that corner this time. Not having two stabs at the brakes. Much cleaner. 124.0 last lap. Bart Horston. 123.8 for Gordy Much. 2/10 quicker. That shows the difference that extra nab of the brake can do. And it will come down to those fine margins as well. A little extra brake here, just a dip on the wheel of the verges there. And you have to say one car will be past the other. Stoney in chat. Gordy is just keeping the pressure on, waiting for the mistake. Exactly that. With racing, that is what it's about. You keep that pressure on and try and force the guy ahead of you into a mistake. He could look in the mirror at the wrong time, and that would be it. Miss your braking point by just a few meters, and that is you. So we come back round for another lap here. This is close racing, isn't it? Where is it going to come? Is it going to come? Is Gordy Much going to have a go? It's beautifully tight racing. Look how smooth the driving is from both of these. There's utter respect. No one's lunging. No one's trying to do too much. No hard braking. Just clean racing. This is what it's meant to be. Let's have a jump back, shall we? Nico there. Holding on to third still. 124.6. So he is dropping back 5 seconds off of the leaders now. With Gordy Much 4/10 back now. So he's lost a 10th somewhere. Here we go. Bart and Gordy are still together. But again, they are not being split, are they? Not being split at all. Let's have a look back through the group. So I don't believe Gordy Much is going to have a lunge into Paddock Hill here. He is just too far back. Absolutely too far back for a lunge there. Correct. Let's have a nose back, shall we? Nico, Roger View, P3. Still going around quite neatly, waiting for the two ahead of him to either make a mistake or pit. Ash Marshall over the line and back down Paddock Hill Bend. 126.1 last lap for Ash. Ash Marshall's best lap, 124.2. So he is lapping slower than the leaders at the moment. But hanging on to that fourth place quite nicely, which is a marked improvement on where he was on the last round. We cut back to Tony Norgran, still in the world of his home, but it looks like, oh, we're going to have a three-way here, aren't we? Timo and Sebastian are keeping up with him. Sebastian has got that aero damage on the rear wing. That is going to be slowing him down quite significantly, especially as we go through the faster corners. And it looks like Timo thinking of having to go down the side there. No, he's thought better of it, but he's opened up the door to Sebastian behind him. In that little half move, you can see Sebastian's gained maybe half a car length there. Oof. We are closing up now. The Audis on each other. Timo McKeown versus Sebastian Norgran versus Tony Norgran. Is this one going to end in tears? Which one's it going to be? You've got to wonder. Look at the state of that rear wing on Sebastian's car. He's harrying Timo, though. He wants round him. Even with the damage on that car, he knows he's quicker. He knows he should be further up the grid, but he cannot get by. Ooh, Timo. 127.4 for Timo. Last lap out. 126.4 as Sebastian outbrakes himself. Oh dear, that half a move, half a look down the inside, and he's had to jam the brakes on, and that is him, you've got to say, out of it for quite a period here. So we jump back to Timo versus Tony. Takes a lot to say, doesn't it? Timo versus Tony. Tony versus Timo. Where is this going to end up? Is Timo going to have a go at Tony? You have to feel Sebastian is going to be off of these two now for at least 6 or 7 laps, I would say. Oh no, Tony's gone. They've both gone. Tony's binned it. Oh dear, Timo's binned it. Sebastian's round them both. Oh dear. That is not what either of them was aiming to do. Just the pair of them have oversteered their way into that corner. And that's their race ruined. There's going to be damage on both of those cars. Oh, no. The state of the Lamborghini now. That's not what they were trying to aim for. I don't quite know what Tony was defending from, but it was enough to pitch him sideways with the oversteer. Timo's coming back again. You'd have to say Timo fared a little bit better off of that. Oh dear. Horrible, horrible crash. But they're still going round. Still going round. And you have to say, that's a gift for Sebastian Norgran. After his little incident, and it was only a little incident, but it was enough. And he's away himself now. As we jump back to the lead race here. Gordy Much still chasing Bart Horston for that race win. And you have to say this has pretty much been the gap between them. Gordy is that little bit closer to Bart through the first section, but then it seems Bart has the measure just as they come through the last sector, enough to pull away so that Gordy can't have a go into Paddock Hill Bend. trying to keep it clean. And there we go. You can see the gap starting to form now. Oh, Gordy may have it. That was a lot cleaner from Gordy Much. It looked like Bart Horston ran that a little bit too wide on the exit there. Neither one is giving an inch, are they? Stoney in chat, do you think my Zafira can do 70? I'm pretty sure a Vauxhall Zafira will do 70 if it's downhill being towed with a tailwind. So there we go. That's the answer to your question. Back round Paddock Hill bend again. Gordy Much, little dip on the sand there. Getting a little bit frustrated now, you have to feel, with being behind Bart. But Bart is doing everything right to keep him behind him. Defiance says off of a cliff maybe. No, if you throw a Zafira off of a cliff, it will easily do 75. As we jump back to the action here. Gordy, again, it's the same gap, and he just cannot find a way to get past Bart Horston. You have to be impressed with Bart's driving here. It is very intelligent, very calm, very methodic, just sticking to his lines, trying to ensure that he keeps that gap back to Gordy Much. As they come round again to complete another lap. This is what we like to see. Close racing at the front. It's still anyone's race here. You only need one of these two to have an incident like the chaps towards the back of the field. And you have to say, Nico could come through. If we have a check of the laps here, Nico Rogerview 9.7 off of the lead here. So he is losing time still. But he would still be there if these guys have an accident. Ash Marshall, P4, 23 seconds off the lead, but holding P4 nice because the guys behind him are another 20 seconds back after their sort of self-inflicted incidents, you have to call it, I'm afraid. The oversteer moments to the pair of them, it looked beautiful with the tandem pirouetting. It was very much a case of, oh, well, if you're going to spin, I'm going to spin too. So it was fantastic to watch, but bad for their races. Great for Sebastian Norgran, who you have to say is obviously that little bit quicker than the two that are now behind him. So it's done him a favour there. As the chats now discuss their first cars with each other. We should probably ask our drivers what their first cars were. Some of them haven't long got their first cars. I believe Gordy Much is only 20, so it wouldn't have been too long ago. Ash Marshall not much older himself. These two. It's very nip and tuck, isn't it? It's just not coming yet. It's not coming. We'll have a look back at Nico Rogerview in P3 there. Having quite a lonely race, but I'm sure he'll take it. It's consistent. At the moment, he's on for yet another P3. So consistently doing what he needs to do to bank points and keep himself in the title fight. Ash Marshall, P4. Ash seems to have found some time on the last lap with a 125.5. One of his better laps that he's put in. In fact, it looks like, yep, a 124.2 was his qualifying time. So he's a little off of what his qualifying pace were. He will be obviously carrying the extra fuel load now. Quietly going round to himself in fourth. Just putting the laps in. Keeping it calm. not having any incidents like last week. Timo McEwen. Now, somehow, these boys are back past Sebastian, which means somewhere along the line, Sebastian Norgran has either pitted or crashed. We will jump back over the replays and the highlights for you. Those will be with you tomorrow. We will try and find out what happened to these guys, because it looks like it's been all action at the back here, doesn't it? As we see missing panels and all sorts there, look. And there is Sebastian Norgran. Still going round in what looks to be the same damage on the car. Don't see much more occurring there. But of course, Sebastian did have that extra spin, which sent him back compared to the two ahead of him, who obviously pirouetted off into the road. There's a fair gap now between Tony and Timo. You have to say this will be between their pit stops for any sort of change there, you would have to think now. As we jump back to the lead race, Bart Horston still holding off Gordy Much. In fact, Bart Horston has pulled out a gap here to Gordy Much. Well, 1:23.6, Horston's last lap time. 1:23.9 for Gordy Much, a 3/10 difference. Now, what's the reason behind that? Did Gordy run wide? Is Gordy suffering with fuel? Is he having to sort of lift and coast through the corners just to preserve his fuel? They still sound like, yep, they are still on the accelerator where they should be, yeah. Not hearing much in the way of coasting. We have a rear chase view. As we can see Bart there, he's not, and there is no coast, is there? He's still giving it some. So you have to think that maybe Gordy had ran it wide. We are 3 minutes away from the halfway mark here. What are our chaps going to do? Did they fill their cars? You have to wonder. Baseline setups were designed so that these guys obviously can't give themselves too much of an advantage. There will be some here, for example, Gordy, who will know the iRacing sim a lot better than others, and will know how to best set up the car. And that would give him a too stronger competitive advantage. So, baseline setups only, but they can give themselves all the fuel that they would need. But that would make them a damn sight slower going through this race. Gordy Much dropping off like a stone now. All the close racing for the first half hour, and he's going backwards, it seems. If anyone put a bet on here, and you didn't follow Scotty's advice within the chat, like myself, for example, might be time to kick yourself slightly. It does appear Scotty's crystal ball might have this one. Still got halfway to go. Still got 30 minutes left of this race. So it's not over by any stretch of the imagination. But you have to say, Bart Horston is looking incredibly comfortable out front. We jump back to Nicolaj in P3. Quite happy still. Going round, not putting too much pressure on himself. I think we can see here, he knows he's got a gap. He's not sort of on the absolute ragged edge, is he? Ash Marshall. Fan favourite, I'd have to say. back in 4th place still in that beautiful Mercedes. But again, keeping his nose clean. It's all about points. Remember, this is quite a long series. We're aiming for 15 races. So these guys will know it's not going to be a case of, oh, I've only got 6 rounds. I need to get the results now. They need to play the long game. They need to just be steady with it. Just think, plan themselves out. They don't know what tracks are coming up. Some will be stronger than others. Consistent points is going to be key. And you have to feel the likes of Ash Marshall and Nikolaj Rogevu, who are consistent in where they are. As Ash comes in for the pit. So the first pit is in, I believe. Is somebody in ahead of him? I don't think we saw anyone, did we? Ash Marshall straight in. Ah, here we go. Tell a lie. I will shut my mouth as we watch Sebastian Norgran out of the pits with Bart Horston behind him. That is going to promote Gordy Much to P1 now. Here's the question. Where is Gordy Much on track? There he is. Was this his plan? Was he backing off like we thought to give himself that extra fuel just to go for a couple of more laps and get the gap to Bart Horston? Remember, these guys have been within 0.3 of a second to each other. As Gordy Much pits, Gordy is now in. So the question now stands, where is Bart Horston going to be on track? There he is. Is Bart going to be coming round to take it away from Gordy? Is it going to be enough? You have to say this is going to be close. Gordy Much rounding the corners. Pulling away from Sebastian Norgran, but it's a non-fight for him there. Sebastian is obviously near the back at the moment. Here we go. Round the last corner for Bart Horston. Where is Gordy Much? Is he still in the pits? I believe he will be. Gordy Much is not in the pits. Gordy Much is ahead. Gordy has jumped him in the pit lane. Bart Horston is now down to P2. Smart tactics by Gordy there. Gordy has jumped Bart Horston in the pits. Well, all that hard work of Bart's in the beginning. Oh dear, he's going to be spewing over that one. It turns out that extra fuel save Gordy Much has done has been enough to put him ahead of Bart Horston after the pit stops. What can Bart do now? As Bart's got to keep his head here and get back on the rear wing of that Mercedes and get past it. This is not over by any stretch of the imagination. Smart tactics by Gordy Much there. He knew he could not pass that BMW on track. And so he did it in the pits. And you can already see Bart Horston coming back now. Closing the gap back up. This is going to be a tight one, folks. We've got 26 minutes remaining of the race. Can Bart Horston get back on level terms with Gordy Much and get past him? Big hello to new followers and new people in our stream chats. It's White Thunder has joined our stream chats. Welcome. Hope you enjoy the racing. Hope you become a fan like everyone else. If you are just tuning, if you're new to this, what you are viewing here is the Pro Series of Blue Streak Esports. The drivers you are seeing on track all come from professional racing backgrounds. Currently following Bart Horston, who is single-seater GB3, which is pretty much Formula 3. Racing this car for him here. Ahead of him in P1 is Gordy Much, who races in Brick Car for Praga in the R1s. Bart Horston Catching back up, look, with Gordy Much. He's not going to let him have it his way. The jump in the pit lane was, you have to say, genius from Gordy Much. But Bart is not going to let him just run away with it here. The toe will be down. That Mercedes is not going to keep the BMW behind, not on pure pace. It's going to be down to the drivers here. Look at the lines. You could see the Mercedes was a little bit wider into that, whereas the BMW just hugged that inner curb. Bart has closed down that gap that Gordy Much had managed to get. The question now is, can he get past him there? Coming up to traffic, I believe that is going to be Tony Norgran in his Lamborghini, who gets out the way. It's good racemanship there. Back into clear air for both cars. Oh, which one is going to be? Which one is it going to be? This is a tight fight, this. I know some of our super fans there in the chat are probably wondering to yourselves, what's going on behind though, Liam? Well, I'll tell you what's going on behind, shall I? Not much changes back there. Nicolas Rogivieux, P3 still, with Ash Marshall still P4. Ash is now 40 seconds behind this lead fight. And then you obviously have Timo Mercurian, Tony Norgran and Sebastian Norgran, who have currently been lapped going in. As we have another slight little incident there with the sim. Apologies for that. Gordy Much is holding off Bart Horston. This is just like we saw in the beginning, except it's the other way around. If I get any more excitable about this, I may pee myself, and that would be the second week in a row that has happened. I'm pretty sure our great partners at Is It Fast will probably be watching this. I'm sure that's a soundbite they'll love. Me and my lack of bladder control as we watch these two race hard for that win. It's so tight, isn't it? Bart is now effectively in that dirty air. He's got to find a way past Gordy here. Where we know he's quicker. He's quicker in that last sector than Gordy. That's where his pace is compared to Gordy Much. But the passing opportunities here at Brands, I don't know where he's going to do it. If he's going to do it. 20 minutes on the clock. Just over 20 minutes, I should say. He's got the time on his side. Oh, look at the nose to tail. Where is he going for it? This is as close as it has been, obviously, between them as they are now, and of course when Gordy was behind Bart Horston. This is racing as you want to see it, as they are coming up to, that will be Sebastian Norgran. Is Sebastian going to do them both a favour and get out of the way? He should do. He will be getting blue and yellow flag to say that leaders are trying to come through. Gordy Much will now be in the dirty air of that Audi. With the iRacing sim, they are not obliged to get out of the way, but he has done them a nice favour there. Where is this going to happen, ladies and gentlemen? Are your predictions still the same? Does Scotty's crystal ball still tell you it's going to be Bart Horston for the win? Or has that crystal ball suddenly gone, no, it's Gordy Much, it's Gordy Much. You have to feel Bart is pushing Gordy along here. Where is it coming? When is it coming? Is it going to be clean? It's so tight at the front. So tight. This is obviously a track that both of these guys know and know well. Bart Horston goes down the outside here. So here we go. Here comes the move. Oh, God, there's a cigarette paper between them there. Round the outside for Bart Horston. And he's done it. He's through. Bart Horston is through, back into the lead of the Brands Hatch GP race. And that was as clean as it is going to get. That was a spicy move around the outside of that Mercedes. And you can already see pace difference. The BMW is past and pulling away. I don't think there was much Gordy could do about that pass. It's been coming. We knew it was going to happen. It was just a case of where and when. And Bart Horston is away. And you now have to say that it's Bart's to lose. Absolutely Bart's to lose on this one. Fantastic pass. Great racing from the pair of them. I've just repaired the crystal ball, says Scotty in chat. He had to give it a quick polish. It was playing up. Some spicy racing from our drivers there. Fantastic to watch. So, Gordy Much is not going to have it all his own way, is he? For this series. Bart Horston comes to Brands Hatch and says, I'm not having that after race one. You think you can run away with it? Absolutely not, sir. As Bart pulls away now, I think Gordy will have to resign himself to that P2. He will tell us that the update has ruined the Mercedes, which may well be the case. That BMW does look insanely strong at the moment. What a fantastic bit of racing from those two, honestly. So let's have a skip back, shall we? Gordy Much, P2 at present. There's Timo McEwen. Timo currently in P5. Keeping himself to himself now that his car's repaired after a horrible spin and a smash a bit earlier on in the race. Nikolaj Rogiviu, P3. Again, has kept himself quiet through this race. But again, has been consistent. Is going to be back on the podium at the moment. As long as we don't have any more issues. You have to say Nico has been very consistent, not had any issues, no problems. So, have to fancy him for that. Tony Norgran. Tony in the Lamborghini that has had its own adventures today. Currently P6. That Lambo has been in a couple of walls. I think it's been up the backside of another car. I mean, it's had a bit of a bludgeoning this series, this race, but he'll still be happy. He'll take away from this and learn, and then go into the next race. Hopefully, feeling a bit stronger with that car. Sebastian Norgran back in the pits, P7. I think that may well be a retirement for Sebastian there. It's not looking promising. I think he knows that car is done. Jump back to Bart Horston, pulling away from Gordy Much, P1 and P2. Little bit of damage on that rear of that BMW. Might just be a bit of dust and dirt from running slightly wide into some of the sand traps. You can see it there on that rear quarter. So I suppose the big question for people. There we are. I was wondering then, where was the fan favourite? Because clearly everyone seems to like Ash Marshall in our chat. We've had a few shouts for him. He's still there in 4th place. Still going around, still keeping himself honest. And still making sure that he is in those points where he needs to be. He'll be a lot happier with this result today as well. After the disappointment of round 1, where he picked up penalties for too many infringements on circuits, track length, I should say. And then I think he had a bit of an off and a dodgy pit stop as well in round 1, which has ruined his race. So he will take P4 at the moment. Still pace to find for Ash Marshall, you have to say. Given he is in the same car as Gordy Much and is a few seconds slower. So a bit of pace to find, bit of practice to have. But he'll take good points away from this race today. Bart Horston, though. Absolutely standout today. 1:23.7 for his last lap. Coming round again. Keeping it clean. Obviously, he would have seen Gordy much ahead of him in that in those pit stops, but didn't panic, didn't worry. That would have been a lengthy gap that Gordy had, and Bart just went after him. Wasn't going to let him get away. Got past him with all of a Rizzler paper between them at one point. But managed to get by. Thank God there was no netcoding issue with this simulator. And he has been the standout. He's been gone and away. The surprise qualifying result. I say surprise because obviously in practice, Gordy Much was 0.2 to 0.3 quicker. So we did expect Gordy to be up there in first and away, pretty much like last week, but it's just not happened for Gordy Much today. And Bart Horston has absolutely punished him for it. It's fantastic to see. These two are going to now be level pegging on their points for the season. Remember, there is quite a substantial prize pot for these. It's a minimum of £5,000 that they'll be earning. So they are racing for chunky change, which they'll all want. So it's going to be interesting to see how this pans out. And it's nice to see title rivals having a fight without crashing off and having one park on the other one's head. How long is left in the race? We're being asked in the chat. There is 13 minutes. 13 minutes left of this race. And it's fair to say Bart Horston, barring some kind of issue, is going to be your race winner looking at this. I think Gordy Much has pretty much settled himself into second place. Ash Marshall there, everyone's favourite, or the fan favourite, I should say. As we follow Timo, who's about to be lapped by one Gordy Much. Is he going to move? What's he feeling? Now, hold on, ladies and gentlemen, because in the back of your shot, that is Nikolaj Rogivu. That is P3. And P3 is gaining on Gordy Much. I don't think this... we've still got 12 minutes left here. Can Nico get on the back of that Mercedes and make his way by? Don't go anywhere yet, ladies and gentlemen. This isn't over. P3 is catching P2. And Nico will see Gordy, and he will want a piece of that. Timo McEwen there. And you can see Nico now catching up to the back-marking Timo. Once he's past him, it is clear air to Gordy Much. Is he going to get on the back of him? Is he going to get past him? Gordy Much might lose second place here. Gordy could end up finishing third, which would be the shock result for the week. Much like we were shocked last week at where Ash Marshall finished, Gordy Much might not even finish in the top two. What can Nico do? Firstly, he needs to get past the back-marking Timo McEwen. There's not much in this. There's not even a corner separating second and third here. They're on the same stretch of tarmac. And that Mercedes is either massively underperforming or Gordy hasn't realised what is coming up behind him at pace. Has Nico played another blinder here, saved his tyres, saved his fuel, and is now pushing in the closing 10 minutes for P2? He firstly needs to get past the Audi of Timo McEwen, who you would feel should move out of the way for him here. Yes, he does. There we go. That's Timo out of the way. And now there is clear air for Nico to chase Gordy Much for P2. Bart Horston is gone and away with it in P1. Timo McEwen there, back marking in the Audi, but looking fantastic in the car doing it. But this is the next battle you're going to see. Nikolaj Rogiviu, who's kept himself to himself for the majority of this race, in P3, is gaining on P2, Gordy Much. I think Gordy has realised that there is a charging Ferrari behind him and put his foot down. Last lap, Nico Rogiviu, 124.5. Gordy Much, 124.5 last lap. He knows that Nico is coming. There's been a bit of a wake-up call in that Mercedes, you have to think. It was hard enough for him seeing the BMW drive round him and then drive away. But knowing that P3 is catching you, as Gordy puts in a 124.3. As we cut to the wrong car there, sorry. 124.8 for Nikolaj. Gordy Much, half a second quicker. He's responding to the charging Ferrari. Trying to get himself some clear air away and guarantee himself that second spot. We'll keep an eye on this because you can see Nico is still there. Can he catch him? Can he catch him? 8.5 minutes to go. Can Gordy hang on to that P2 with the P3 car of Nico Rogiviu in the Ferrari 488 Evo coming up behind him? It's going to be close. In the meantime, Bart Horston, a 124.1 on his last lap. Rather enjoying himself now, I think it's fair to say. He's had quite a nice overtake. Cracking qualifying. Great start. Round Gordy Much, and he's pretty much had it all his own way. The first half hour was a bit dicey, with all of 3 tenths separating himself and Gordy Much. But after those pit stops, he had to obviously have a bit of a fight, catch back up to Gordy, who you have to admit played a blinder with his tactics to catch up and then pass Bart in the pit stop phase. Probably pulled out a 3-4 second gap from that. But Bart soon closed that down, and within 5 laps, he was back past and is now well and truly away. Enjoying his day out at Brands Hatch on his simulator. Knowing he's going to be level pegging on points now with Gordy Much and well and truly in the fight for the title. Gordy Much. P2. Which I'm sure he will take. It's nice that he's got some competition. I'm sure he'll agree. 124 dead his last lap. The 124.4 for Nico. So, yes, Gordy is responding to that Ferrari and is putting in half a second quicker lap. So, you have to say that the order as is, unless Gordy makes a catastrophic error, I think we will have our top 3 pinned as they are. Timo McEwen still going around in 5th there. In his nicely repaired Audi. I mean, in the Audi that has always looked like that and has certainly not been repaired from where he's binned it a couple of times. Ash Marshall, fan favourite, P4. Kept himself to himself, kept his nose clean. Tony Norgran has unfortunately retired from the race, as has Sebastian Norgran. Sebastian, unfortunately, had quite a few incidents, it seems. And the car was pretty ruined, and that was his race done. So Sebastian will take a few points from this race, but not as many as he would have liked, I'm sure. So hopefully round 3 will be better for him. Tony Norgran, again, a decent enough effort, but I would say that the Lamborghini he was in was just too damaged to finish the race. It took a pretty hard hit into the wall, which would have damaged, the aero at the front, the suspension and everything. So even though he would have had some repairs through the pit stop phase, it's pretty much ruined his race and stopped him making any progress. So again, unfortunately, another retirement for the Norgran brothers. But again, great to have them involved, and hopefully they have a better round 3. There's Sebastian, yep, definitely in the pits and retiring from the race. Nico with a 1:24.5, Gordy Much with a 1:24.1. Consistent 0.4 quicker for Gordy, so he obviously saw that Ferrari coming up behind him and has thought to himself, no, not having that. So the young man from Scotland looks to have had second place pinned. Bart Horston. Hats off to the young Aussie. Absolutely having a fantastic race there. Great overtakes. Great strategy. He knew that he had the wheels under him today. 4 minutes of the race to go, ladies and gentlemen. If you're still with us, thank you very much. We will do a bit of an interview with our drivers that are left after this race. Be great to catch up with Gordy and Bart on how they thought this went. The closest fight by far we've had so far. Scotty in chat, it's been a quality race. It has been very good. It's been great to see some close fighting. Bit of a shame to see a couple of incidents that were, should we say, non-incidents? The tandem oversteer, although it looked pretty, was very unfortunate for the Norgrands. But will make great highlights. Defiant in chat, Bart has pulled a corker. Absolutely. I mean, you've got to say, from start to finish of this race, under immense pressure, it must be said. It's not like he's had this all his own way. Gordy Much was behind Bart all the way for the first half hour of this race, on his bumper, between 2 and 4/10. So he's had to deal with that for the first half hour, and he didn't put a single foot wrong. Only in the pit stops was he jumped by Gordy Much, who had managed to save some tyres, save some fuel, but he managed to claw his way back on warmer tyres, get his way back by, and he has just been plain gone from there. So, in the way that Gordy Much won in emphatic style for race 1, Bart Horston is having it all his way today. 2 minutes of the race to go. I think we can all admit that Scotty in chat, his crystal ball is the one. Scotty, if you can just type in the winning lottery numbers for everybody this week, we would all be massively obliged and grateful to you. We'd be beholden unto you, I should say, sir. Simrigs UK, that is Stuart. Well done to Bart. I absolutely agree, Stuart. Massive well done to Bart. We'll catch an interview with him very shortly. Motion Sport UK, it was indeed great racing. Fantastic to watch. Some exciting moments. It's not often I go very high pitch in my voice, but I think we had some high pitch tack moments there. It's a good job I don't have my webcam on, otherwise you would see the excitement all over the place. And by that I mean me jumping up and down and dancing. That will be a meme tomorrow and will be on TikTok. I really wish I hadn't said it. So, oh, great. As we watch Bart Horston come round, the last 30 seconds, he will probably have one more lap, I would think, to go. They may well finish it here, to be fair. It depends how quickly he gets round. It's on the internet now. Yeah, thank you. Thank you to my chat. Thank you, guys. I'm sure that will be in the highlights. It will be on TikTok. And yeah, great. Oh, well, I'm sure I've said worse things in my life anyway. 4 seconds to go. Rounding the corners now. That is the hour mark, and I believe that you will see the checkered flag. You shouldn't need to do another lap. Bart Horston will be mightily chuffed with his result here, I believe. As he deserves to be, because that... I mean, we thought Gordy Much had a dominating performance last week. Bart Horston has just upped that, hasn't he? Absolutely upped that. Coming over the line. Bart Horston, race 2, Brands Hatch GP circuit. I think he's got one more lap to go. We've had the white flag, haven't we? Not the checkered. We've got the white flag. So he does have one more lap, I believe, to come round and complete. Scotty happy with his crystal ballness. Everyone happy. I think we can all agree. But absolutely deserved winner. Gordy for P2 was pretty much set in stone a while ago. Nico, P3. He'll be chuffed with that. And then, of course, don't forget your fan favourite. Ash Marshall will be P4 through this. Timo McEwen will be a lap down, P6. And then your 2 retirees, the Norgrands, P7 and P6, sorry. We'll just follow Bart round on what he'll probably take as a bit of a victory lap. Gordy Much nowhere near him. Fantastic racing. This is why we do esports. It's just as good. A very happy Stuart in chat for Simrigs UK. Absolutely the man to be speaking to if you want your sim gear. Bart Horston over the line. Race 2 winner at the Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit for Blue Streak Esports. Great race from Bart. Phenomenal driving there, wasn't it? Gordy Much rounding the final corner now. P2 for Gordy. He'll take that. He'll know he was conclusively beaten today. Nico bringing in for P3. And then somewhere back here, we've got Timo. And there is Ash Marshall, who will follow over the line. Indeed you will, Stuart. I will indeed see you tomorrow, sir. Coming round there, Ash Marshall on a bit of a cruise. Enjoying himself. What a great race. A fantastic bit of overtaking. Some severe incidents, but we will get through that. We'll get by it. As you can see, Ash was... he'll be happy with his points, but he wasn't there today for the podium. Over the line for Ash Marshall. Bringing in the P4. And what we will do is we will jump across, ladies and gentlemen, I think, so that we can have a chat to our drivers.